Listen, pal. You're not gonna tell me nothing. Hi, everybody. Is it happening? Is it working? Can I have some feedback? Is it working?
Well, I have to refresh. I can only work as fast.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I hope that you guys are there and that I'm not just talking to myself. We are going to paint today. I'm pulling my paints out. I'm going to put some paint on my unicorn plate and then we'll get started. How are things? How is everybody? Happy Saturday. I probably should have gone through my paint before this started because that one's definitely dried out. But it's fun. Oh, it is working. Okay, good. All right, hi, everybody. Leave me highs in the chat. How are things? Let me know where you guys are watching from. I really did my best to fix the time because I know last time a lot of you were like, ma'am, it's the middle of the night and couldn't watch or couldn't stay for very long. So I tried to fix it, but y'all voted in the poll. So here we are. Actually, I don't want navy blue.
I can put it over here so you can see the chat at least.
Oh yeah, can we do that? We're gonna move you guys so I can see the chat, so I can answer your questions and stuff. I'm gonna set some paints out though, and then once we get that situated, hello everybody. Here, I'm gonna rotate this a tiny bit. That is the ugliest color I have ever seen. I should probably have mixed that a little bit more. Hi friends watching from Germany. I thought that said Cleveland.
You can make the chat bigger, I think.
Yeah. Let me scooch you. Ooh. There we go. Okay. Hello. West Virginia, Ontario. God, y'all are from all over, huh? California. Hi, friends. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so I'm going to lay out some paints here. I won't lie to you. I did sketch some stuff out last night for the sake of time. But some of it we are really going to do it live and just like see how it goes. I'm hopeful that it'll turn out fine. I mean, that's kind of the point. Oh, I also wanted to address that too, because I keep seeing comments from you guys saying like, don't call your artwork shitty. You know, and like, don't label it as bad. Like your artwork's great. And like, first of all, I love you guys. You guys are so sweet. Thank you for, first of all, trying to hype me up. But second of all, for trying to hold me accountable for using positive self-talk. I appreciate you so much. That is very much the energy that we want on the channel. But I wanted to talk a little bit about why I call it shitty artwork, because I don't call it shitty because I think it's like bad or I'm like embarrassed of it. I call it shitty artwork because I started this whole art thing as a way for me to release myself of the expectation of perfection. So it's supposed to be, ooh, this is a clumpy girl. Oh, that's not cute. Look at this. Look at that. That's so, I probably should have cleaned my paints out before we started. You know, we're in it now and I don't know what to do with it. We're just, there we go. Okay, it's fine. Anyways,
Do you want to zoom in?
no, it's fine. But it's supposed to be an exercise of releasing myself from perfectionism and really embracing that artwork is valuable and important and a useful exercise, regardless of whether it's like quote unquote good or not. I don't consider myself to be an artist per se. I've never been a person who is like trained in art in any capacity. And so I just enjoy doing creative things for the sake of being creative. And so I call it shitty artwork because it's intended to be like not good. You know, it's like not good, but it's not good either. Does that make sense? So calling it shitty artwork is just an easier way of saying it's art that's intended to be more fun than it is like good quality. So I hope that makes sense. Let me use it as texture. Ew. I don't know if that's the kind of texture that I'm going for, but I don't hate that. Have you thought about streaming to Twitch? I have thought about it. It's something that's come up a couple of times. For now, I'm comfortable streaming on YouTube. What?
Nothing.
I'm comfortable streaming on YouTube just because I know this is where most of y'all are. But if y'all really want to see me stream on Twitch, we can explore it later. Maybe in the future. Oh, so let's test some stuff out. I also have my husband, Toucan, in the chat as a mod, and then my friend Hannah is also here. Thank you, Hannah. Bless you for being a mod. So don't y'all be out here trying to do sketchy shit in my chat. We have real mods this time. So if y'all are trying to be mean to each other or mean to me, we will kick you out. I don't know if you're in here. I think Hannah's in here. Hi, Hannah. Thank you for being here. Oh yeah, you are. Okay. Hi, Hannah. Thank you. So yeah, no funny business. Be nice to my friends and my husband. Okay. So far I've done a piss poor job of putting my paints out. Just chatting. This whole experience has really served to teach me that I need to go through my paints more often. Because we really got some clumpy business happening. Hi from the UK. Hi.
Store and buy more, aren't I?
I know. Well, they're old. I mean, honestly, like I don't particularly care because I use them infrequently. But like, look at what's happening. It's not going to come out and it's going to be spectacular. Okay, we're not going to do that because it's going to get everywhere. We use a different orange. We'll just use a different one. What is your opinion about OnlyFans moving away from adult content? I didn't even know that was happening. I think OnlyFans is a platform for sex workers. Controlling the means of their own production of content is great, but I don't know very much about OnlyFans, like the culture that exists there. Ooh, the Czech Republic. Hi, from Portugal and New Zealand. I love your videos. Thank you. You guys are so nice to me. The video that went live this morning has really good traffic on it, so thank you guys for watching it. I just want like a cute neon moment, and like it's a time, you know. See, this is why we call it shitty artwork, though, because like no professional painter would dare make art with paints that have been in a box since like 2004. But like it is what it is. Oh, from Seattle. Would I make an OnlyFans? Absolutely not. No. That's not the content that we make here. That's inappropriate. Thanks for that. From Mexico. Hi, from Scotland. Okay, I think that's enough paint. Okay, so let's do some shitty artwork tour to start with. We're gonna go through everything that I have on the wall, but we're gonna go through it in bits. So I will take some stuff off, and then we will start. I do have some plans for artwork. I saw that fly by in the chat real quick, and I will show you guys what I have sketched out. So I think, do we have a preference? Do we want to start from this side? Do we want to start from the sunflower side or from the checker side? Put that in the chat. Sunflower or checker? Sunflower, checker. What are our thoughts?
Yeah, it looks like sunflower. Oh.
Sunflower, 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 checkers. You choose checkers. Oh no.
Do we have a coin?
I know. Do we have a coin? I don't know. I have a fidget spinner. We have a motel key. Let's see. We can flip a camera battery. 10. Number 1 through 10?
Pick a number.
8.
Okay, I have 2. So start on the.
Okay, so we're starting over here. All right. So we'll start top down. So this one, you guys can't normally see this in the video because it's up way high. Is this backwards? Can you read this?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. This is one that my mom bought me. A lot of the like pre-made ones are ones that my mom has bought me. Thanks, Mom. And I just hang them up here because I think they're cute. So this is one that my mom bought me. I think she found this at a thrift store. This one is also one that my mom bought me. But Thoreau has some of my favorite quotes. So, big fan of that. And I like having that one up. Also, I don't want to hear it because these are after I take them down and hang them back up. They're going to be hopelessly crooked. Sorry. Okay, this one I did make, obviously. It's a quote from Schitt's Creek. So there's an episode of Schitt's Creek where Moira is talking to Stevie about her nudes that she is trying to find on the internet and she can't find them and she's very disappointed about it. And she tells Stevie like advice from like an old woman. She's like, go home and take a bunch of nudes of yourself. She's like, you may think that you're too spooky. Nobody wants to see these tiny boobies. She's like, you'll look on those photos with kinder eyes one day. And I thought that was so funny, first of all, but also like so sweet and kind. And I feel like that's also very true. So I love this. And also I just love Schitt's Creek and like Moira as an institution. Yes, I saw a lot of the comments that the checkers remind them of Beetlejuice, which I feel like is very fitting for Moira anyways, because she was in Beetlejuice. Catherine O'Hara was in Beetlejuice. So I feel like that fits. What's the tattoo on your forearm? Well, there's a bunch of them. Oh shit, did I just get paint on my chair? There's paint on it now. So we can talk about my tattoo later, but it's like a sleeve that we're working on that has a bunch of like naked people and like herbs and moons and Medusas like up here. But yeah. Yeah, it says, oh, I'm too spooky. Okay. And then this guy, this is a little one that I found at a thrift store here in Tucson. And it says, beautiful girl, you can do hard things. And I think it's cute, but it also just made me happy, like from a sensory perspective, because it's so light. It's made of wood, but it's like the lightest little thing. And it's tiny. It's so cute. I don't know. I love it. And it's teeny tiny and it's very colorful. This one, a lot of you guys are pretty good with this one. This is a Jenna Marbles quote. It says, life is short, but also terribly and insufferably long, which I feel is very appropriate. And who doesn't love a good Jenna Marbles quote? So we have that one up here. All right, we'll do two more and then we're going to start painting. This one is just a straight up moon. I just think it's cute. I just wanted to paint a moon, so I did. Hi, friends. Thank you for coming. If you are just joining, I know I miss Jenna Marbles too. I thought about taking them down after she left the platform, but I feel like there is like no more appropriate time to have them up than now, because I miss her videos so much. Yes, it's from her toothbrush video. Okay, and then this one is just a picture of a box of mac and cheese. It says Mac's Famous Mac and Cheese. This is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference. This is one of my husband and I's favorite episodes of that show because it's like a weird fever dream. That whole episode is just ridiculous. I don't know, it's just funny. Like, it's just, the whole show as a premise, if you've never watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, is like odd and like kind of upsetting and unnerving, but funny, and I just like it. So yeah, so there you go. Mickey, do you watch dating shows? Not really. We have watched Love is Blind. We did do a review of that show. I know that you guys asked me to finish that series. We may do it one day, but there's just a lot of content that we're working on that we're very excited about, and it is like a lot of stuff to juggle. So okay, so let's get started, because my paint's gonna dry out. So the last time I painted was several months ago, and I started working on this, and then I just never finished it. But it says best wishes, warmest regards, eat glass, which is another Schitt's Creek quote. So we're gonna finish that. Ooh, somebody got hidden in the chat. Ooh, rude, frowned upon. Don't be rude. Okay, and then I also sketched this out. It says Herb Ertlinger. It's just a bunch of Schitt's Creek stuff. I swear to God, we're gonna do more than just Schitt's Creek stuff. This one, I realized that I don't have any Survivor art on my wall yet, which is ridiculous. So we're doing this. It says outwit, outplay, outlast. It looks terrible. Oh my God. It looks like it makes no goddamn sense when it's just sketched out like this. Which is, you know, I guess the point. And then I'm gonna make a little Pokemon Go egg, which I'm very excited about. And then I also sketched this one out that just says, "Ayo, River." So we're gonna put that one up. There's a lot of Portlandia art on my wall. I know that one of the big questions is about the put a bird on it painting. I don't know where that one is. Is it behind my head? It's up here somewhere. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah. All right. Let's start painting. So let's see. We're going to start with this because it's already half done. And I feel like that's a nice, easy, and attainable place to start. A lot of times when I do this too, I have ADHD, so I have a tendency to hyperfocus. This brush is too big. So I will hyperfocus on painting for like 30 minutes and make a giant fucking mess in my office and then just close the door and run away. And like not come back to it for like 3 months. So I'm gonna try and like take my time today and like be slow and intentional. Yes, I do very much watch Grey's Anatomy. My foot is so asleep. Oh my God. Yeah, we've actually done some therapist reacts to Grey's Anatomy videos. That was one of my favorite shows for the longest time. It's just, it sucks you in. Like the show is just addictive, I think, because it's so dramatic. I talked about this in the Gabby Hanna video, but I'm hopelessly addicted to drama in all of its forms. Do I recommend getting a tattoo? I think it depends on a lot of things. Tattoos are very personal. And I know that tattoos are different for everyone. Like for me, my tattoos, I can kind of like wild out and it doesn't matter because I'm self-employed. And so like, who's going to fire me, you know? So I can get naked people tattooed in very visible places and it doesn't matter. But like if there are real world limitations that you have, you know, then it begs the question about whether that is a safe option for you. You know, and I think for a lot of people too, there's like fear about getting a tattoo that you'll regret or whatever. Actually, I was talking with my husband about this yesterday. And I think as long as the tattoo is something that you care about and that you know, think is cool, then why not? Because I do have tattoos that if I were to go back and do it all over, I probably wouldn't get again. But I don't regret them per se. You know, it's like a time capsule. It was a representative of a portion in my life, and I value them and appreciate them now. And so, you know, I don't mind them. But it very much is about your perspective, you know. If you're very committed to having a particular aesthetic and you're very fearful about potentially mucking that up, you know, then that's like that's a personal thing, which is totally fair. Ooh, whose birthday is it? Oh my God, happy birthday. I think birthdays are so special. I also just realized that this is very much not centered. But it's fine. Let me see whose birthday is it. Let me look through the chat. Meanwhile, I got a new tattoo yesterday. That's fun. Congratulations on your new tattoo. What is the bye-bye horse painting about? We will talk about the bye-bye horse painting in just a minute, I promise. I'm going to finish some of these paintings first. Afraid of the pain of getting a tattoo. Yeah, I mean, tattoos are rough. Like I'm not going to lie to you, like they hurt, you know? But it does depend on the area that you get a tattoo. Like the tattoos that I have on my legs hurt way fucking more than the tattoos that I have on my arms. If you asked me to get another tattoo, I would for sure, like far and away, I would get them on my arms, like right here, right now. But if you asked me to get another thigh tattoo, I'd be like, I don't know. Those shits hurt like real bad, real bad. Now I remember why this one was left unfinished, this thing, because it is super duper uneven. But see, this is the purpose. This is the goal of this exercise, because I have this tendency to be like, inside center, I'm going to paint over it and I'm going to fix it. And like, why though? For what? That's not helpful to me. That's not necessary. It's still good. It's off center, but still good. So we're just gonna roll with it. As long as it's not misspelled. I can abide by miscentered, but misspelled I can't deal with. I'm not gonna do myself like that. All right, let's see. Oh, that's fun. It was a nice surprise. Well, thanks for being here. Yeah, inner wrist is not too bad, but I've never gotten an ankle tattoo, but I've heard those hurt like crazy. That sounds terrible. Yes, it is from the podcast My Favorite Murder. Thank you, Hannah. Also, everyone say hi to Hannah. Say congratulations, because she just hit 10,000 subscribers. Let's see some excited emotes in the chat, please, for my friend. Yeah, the text on this painting is a bit of a bloodbath. Is anybody else painting? I saw a couple of you say that you guys were going to do art today with me. Is anybody else out there painting or drawing or doing art in some form? Because I'd love to know what you guys are working on. Oh God, this shit is so fucked up. Yeah, congratulations, Hannah. It's so funny how far behind the chat is. Because I feel like I said that 100 years ago. Oh, you're cross stitching. Oh my gosh. Cross stitching is hard. I've tried to cross stitch before and I'm freaking terrible at it. I can manage to do like hand embroidery, like kind of okay, but cross stitching is another world, man. Crocheting, same thing. God bless you who are crocheting, because you have to count and stuff. I don't understand how anybody does that. But pyrography, that sounds impossible, but also so cool. Do you need special equipment for that? I feel like that sounds unsafe, right? Customizing, is that Breyer horses? Breyer horses? What does that mean? Can I have some clarification on that, please? Because that sounds super cool, but I don't know what that means. Crocheting. Decorating your wall with K-pop posters. That sounds so fun. Ooh. There's a lot of jewelry making going on in here, too. I love this. I'm glad that you guys are doing self-care, too. That's so fun. Happy Self-Care Saturday, everybody. Oh, God. This is going to be so hopelessly off-center. Why am I like this? You know, we do what we can. See, this is what I'm talking about. Is this something that I would willingly have made? Fucking no. But is this something that I'm hanging on the wall anyways? Yeah. Like, why not? You know, it's like a little bit ugly. And eat glass looks like one word. But like, that's the point, you know? It's supposed to be shitty. It's fun. And now, for the rest of eternity, I will remember that this was the first piece of artwork that I ever made on our Come Paint With Me live stream. And like, how fun is that? You know? What an experiential thing. I should probably clean that off. Let's see here. All right. I see you guys making fun of my eat glass. Eat glass is from Schitt's Creek. So it's like a thing that David and Stevie say to each other. And I feel like it's a cute, fun thing to say to your friends for some reason. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, I'm painting something 21 Pilots related. That's fun. I think I'm going to do a 21 Pilots something or other later today too. I'm planning on it anyways. Ooh, we had lunch right before this, so apologies, but I'm going to be a very burpy person, like as if that's really new, I guess. I think we talked about this in the last live stream too, but there are so many burps and like yawns and like grunts that hit the cutting room floor. So when we live stream, like y'all just have to listen to me burp. Sorry. Yeah, thanks for coming, you guys. Okay, so let's go through some more paintings. This one, a lot of you have pointed out, this is a 21 Pilots quote. My husband and I are big 21 Pilots fans, or at least I am. My husband sort of humors me and likes 21 Pilots also. This is from a song called Truce. The lyrics I think are just nice, you know. It is like a very like calming song. Sorry, I'm like trying to read the chat and talk at the same time. But yeah, it's just a fun, not fun, but it's like a calming and like very validating song for people with mental illness. So I like it, and I made a poem. It's supposed to look like a sunrise, but it ended up just kind of looking like a cute little gradient. Ooh. Whatever, it's fine. This one is one of my favorites. This is another Portlandia quote. This says, "My memories are going away." This is from an episode where Peter and Nance, I think it's Peter and Nance, they go to get sushi, and the whole skit is just that like Peter and Nance are this couple from Portland that are like very like boring white people kind of, and they go to get sushi, and one of those sushi rolls that they order has like one little chili pepper next to it, and they like flip out because it's too spicy, and so Peter like has his seizure about how it's too spicy for him, and he's like convulsing on the floor and talking about how his memories are going away, which is, I don't know, it's just funny, it's just cute. Oh, thank you. It does kind of look like a sunrise, I guess. Yes, the put a bird on it is also a Portlandia reference. So there's that one. Also, this one doesn't hang on the wall quite right, because there's a stud behind here. This nail is like all wonky, but it's fine. You know? Okay. This one is also usually too high for you guys to see in frame. But we move them around, so you guys probably have seen this before. This just is a rainbow, and it says "fat queer." This is a joke that my best friend Jax and I don't know who, I think Jax started saying this. We were just hanging out one day, and she was saying that she wanted someone to make a sticker of this. And it just is such a funny thing. I don't know why this makes me laugh so much. Like, just referring to oneself as a fat queer is hilarious to me. I know that not everybody likes referring to themselves as a queer or like reclaiming the word queer, but I feel like it fits for me. So I've used that word as a descriptor before, and I am obviously a fat person. So for whatever reason, combining the two of them, especially on that day, just like made us giggle. So this has been kind of a joke between the two of us, and it just makes me happy. So I painted a cute little lopsided rainbow and put fat queer underneath it. Yeah, happy belated Pride, everybody. Yeah. So there is that one. All right. And then this one is also one that you guys have talked about a lot in the comments. It says Dag Dag. The Sims is one of the first video games that I ever played, all the way back in like, God, probably 7th or 8th grade, like middle school. I was playing The Sims, like The Sims 2 and Sims 3. And it was probably the first time that I like really figured out how to do self-care, even though I didn't really realize that's what I was doing at the time. It was like one of the only things that I like did for purely just fun. So I've always loved The Sims and just found it to be a nice way to like turn my brain off. Um, and I went through a phase probably 2 years ago where I was like high key obsessed with Deligracy and James Turner and like all of the Sims creators here on YouTube. So I was doing my shitty artwork and I was like, I'll make a dag dag painting. So I did. I made like a little plumb bob, put it behind there. But oh my god, that's so funny. In Danish, in Danish, this just says day day. That's so stupid. Oh my god. I love that so much. I don't that's so dumb. Oh, that's so funny. I love it so much more now. I am so sorry that I accidentally appropriated your language. Um in Dutch, it's bye. Simlish is such a freaking mess. Oh my god. I think the Simlish is probably my favorite part of The Sims. Like Katy Perry, when she recorded her Simlish version of that song, absolutely took me out. That shit was so funny. That's so funny. Okay, so then this one says forking shirt balls. In case you guys haven't noticed, I go through phases a lot. So this one was from a phase where my husband and I were watching The Good Place, and I was high-key obsessed with that show. And I just really liked the character of Eleanor. I won't spoil it in case you guys haven't watched it, but Eleanor's character arc in The Good Place is probably one of my favorites. And I think the show overall is one of my favorites because TV shows have this tendency to do the thing where they like really ride that bitch till the wheels fall off, you know? They like just keep making season after season after season and like fuck the plot and like who really cares if it's good anymore. So I really respected that they decided to end the show like on their own terms. So yeah, the character arc for Eleanor and just like the whole story of the show was like really good. It still makes me cry. Like the season finale of that show like gets me. So yeah, big fan of that. I wanted my painting to look like her shirt, so that's why there's a little like pastel rainbow on it. Yes, yeah, Darcy Carden and Jamila Jamil and Kristen Stewart all are like incredible and like just a wonder cast of like incredible women. Okay, I have to pull this one off the wall. Some of these are like the flat canvases, and so we just like dead ass stick a nail through them. Like these ones, it's just flat. And so instead of doing the adult thing and like mounting a bracket on the back or something, I just jam nails through them. So please excuse while I rip it out of the wall. Okay. So this one is also a Good Place reference. It just says, welcome, everything is fine. I really enjoy the like minimalist style that the Good Place has. Like this just like very plain pared down text I think is really fun. So I wanted to make that. I also thought this was just funny as like part of the set for the YouTube channel. I don't know why. I just like the idea of someone finding a video for the first time and the background of my YouTube channel being like, welcome, everything is fine. So yeah. Oh yeah, blue tack. That's like such a sensible adult solution. Can't relate. I'm just gonna put that back where it goes. You know, it's probably fine. There we go. Okay. All right. That's good for now. I'm also out of breath. All right, I'm gonna paint some more. We're gonna do this one. It's a little sign. My friend Kara gave me this. I ordered something from her Etsy shop and she sent me this adorable little like sign, and I thought this would be so funny to put the Herb Ertlinger logo on. So I'm gonna try and paint that. We'll see how that goes. All right, let's see. I saw some questions float by earlier, and I think I missed them. So does anybody have any questions that you would like answered while I try and shittily paint this? Hannah and Aaron, if you could flag them and or relay them, please. That would be great. See, this is the issue that I have with painting tiny things, though, because the brushes I have are never small enough, so I end up like smooshing the paint on there, and the letters are freaking huge.
Do you want to just talk about your story about why you became a therapist in private practice and why you wanted to become one, or what made you?
Yeah. So we've talked about this briefly, but my story for like how I became a therapist is certainly not as noble as one might think. The long and short of it is that I'm fucking terrible at math. I thought I wanted to be a pharmacist. So when I graduated, I got a scholarship to go to ASU, and I enrolled in pre-pharmacy or like pre-med or something. And because I have no ability to self-regulate, I was like, I'm going to do all my gen eds in one semester. So I took something wild, like 18 or 20 credit hours of all math and science in one semester, and burnt myself out and was very overwhelmed. And mind you, like this is on top of me being bad at math already. And like this being your first semester at college and like reckoning with moving out of your parents' house for the first time and living on your own and like all of the, untreated mental illness that was happening at the time. So, just like straight up not having a good time. I did not know what I wanted to do, but I was failing, at math, and science. And so I was like, well, I got to do something else. So on a night that I was having a particularly rough go, I literally sat up and looked through the major catalog for ASU. And I was like, okay, well, I have a scholarship. I can't just throw this shit away. I have to do something. I felt like I have to do something. And so I looked through the major catalog and I was like, what have I met the math requirements for already? Like, what can I pursue as a degree without having to take any more math or science? So I found social work. And there was a girl that I was taking, I think it was an English class with, that I knew was a social work major. Poor thing. Probably I cornered her in our next class like a wild animal. Apologies to her if you're out there for cornering you like a feral cat. When I cornered her and was like, is this easy? Can I do this? Like, what do you think about this? And she was very kind. She was like, yeah, I think it's a great degree. There's lots of wonderful things that you can do. And like was trying to share with me about the wonderful aspects of social work. And I was like, great, awesome. I don't have to do math. Perfect. So I switched my major and just decided like, awesome, I'm going to do this. And didn't really think very much about the implications of that, until later. And then I started taking major related classes about social work and learning about the history and what you can do as a social worker and all that stuff. And changed my mind like 73,000 times. I wanted to be a court-appointed special advocate, and then I was going to be a child therapist. And then, I wanted to do like macro work, like I wanted to be a lobbyist and whatever. Eventually, I realized that I could just do individual clinical work with grown-ups and felt like that was the best fit for me. So I picked that. But yeah, it was very much a journey, and I think it's important to normalize the process of changing your mind and fumbling around and not knowing what you're doing and winging it as you go, because first of all, no one fucking prepares you. At least for me, the adults in my life who were encouraging me to go to college and telling me that going to college was the smart choice had never finished college or even been to college. And so, certainly had never been to college in that same culture that we see the American college system in now. And so I was ill-equipped to deal with that. So it's okay if you are in college right now and you are like, wow, this is not what I was expecting. You're not alone. And I think it's important to normalize feeling weird about that because, like I said, we're not prepared for that and not equipped. And that's okay. It is very normal and very common to kind of just like make it up as you go along. And some people will finish. Some people will make it through college and graduation and all of that. Some people will decide that it's not for them. Both of those are equally valid decisions. It just so happened that college was something that worked for me, and that's fine. But it doesn't have to work for everybody. So be kind to yourself if you're in the middle of figuring it out because it's hard. I saw that there's a bunch of comments. Let me.
Would you quit your job to do YouTube full time?
No. I love YouTube, and I certainly would pare down the amount of hours that I'm working. I'm actually in the process of doing that right now. Because I value my time, and I think it's important to honor that people can only do so much. And especially like with YouTube burnout and things like that, it's more work than people think. So I appreciate when people ask that question. And like just honor the impact of how much time and effort this is. But no, I love my job so much. And it's the thing I tell my clients this all the time, but it's the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning, it makes me happy. And I think for a lot of people, feeling like you found your calling and the reason that you were put on this earth is a rare feeling. And I feel strongly that that's what therapy is for me. That feels like my place, and the thing that I was meant to do. So I don't know that I'll ever give that up. I might pare down a little bit just to give myself some room to breathe. But I do genuinely love it. Can you change your mind if you don't like what you're saying partway through? Yeah, for sure. I would encourage you to. If you don't like it, it's not working for you, or especially if there's something that you feel like is calling more to you, and that's a feasible option for you, it's worth exploring. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do because I don't know your life and there are extenuating circumstances for everyone. But talk with your support system, lean on your people. I think we should really normalize the process of changing our mind. Hold on. I saw Hannah said, Kenna asked, how do you, when having a low day, manage self-care? Do you have some semblance of a routine? Yes. So this is part of self-care that's very important that I think is not talked about enough. The concept of having a routine is helpful for specifically when you're having rough days, because we're not always in the mood to do the thing where we think of something that feels like good self-care. So having an already established routine is nice because then you have that kind of like menu almost of things that fill your cup that you can go to. But I think especially if you're having a down day, being realistic about what you can accomplish is very, very important. So, sometimes self-care is turning your brain off or wearing your most comfiest clothes or, getting takeout on your way home or taking an extra long shower, things that are very, very achievable and attainable. Self-care doesn't have to be like fancy pantsy or like performative. So, I think there's also something to be said for like redefining what we think self-care actually is. All right, what else? Yeah, Bonsai is a Lie said, for the longest time I thought I had to pursue my passion, which is art, as a career, but they're happy you're keeping it as a pure hobby. I think that's so important to honor. I think in America especially, we have this tendency to do the thing where we turn everything that we enjoy doing into a side hustle. And like, you don't have to make money off of everything. It's okay to just like something. And especially if it's something that you want to preserve as just a thing that fills your cup and is like self-care only. You don't have to turn it into your career. Especially if you're able to find a career that gives you, balance, in affording you time to do the thing that fills your cup. All right. All right, let me clean these and then we can do some more art tour. How do we feel about that? Also, sorry if I'm annoying you guys with these noises. I recognize that there's lots of clinking and clanking going on, so apologies. Oh, hold on. Let me put some little green doodads on this guy. That paint is not mixed the way that it should be, but oops. Just wipe that off. Yay! Look at there. Look how cute. You can't really read it, but that's okay. Here, let me. Oh, love it. Okay, cool. That one turned out much better than the other one. Fun. Okay. Fun. Watch us get fucking copyright strike. Rebecca Black, don't do me like that. Okay. Let's do some more. So I think we're on this corner of the wall now. So over here, this one is just like, such a topic of debate. I've seen so many comments. Some of y'all get angry about this one, which I feel kind of bad. So this is supposed to say, put a bird on it, which is a Portlandia joke. So the whole thing, Portlandia is essentially like an entire TV show that's made up of short skits. And a lot of them they get like increasingly ridiculous and outlandish as the show goes on. And so one of the skits is this joke about these people that own a store. And their whole like shtick is like, oh, do you want a tote bag? Just put a bird on it. Do you want a t-shirt? Just put a bird on it. And it's like, it's a joke. There's like an offshoot of that where they say like, we can pickle that. And then they just like shove things in pickling solution. So I think that's hilarious. And so I just made a little canvas that says put a bird on it. I actually am very proud of this one because I freehanded this fucking bird. And as I have mentioned before, I am not an artist. Look at this bird. Look at that bird. I made him. Look at that. Like what a queen. I'm so proud of myself for making a bird that is recognizable as a bird. So good for me, good for us. But yeah, that's what this means. It's a Portlandia joke. It doesn't really mean anything. That's kind of the joke. So sorry if that confused you or upset you. Okay. This one is a little sign that my mom got me. This is a thing my mom and I say to each other a lot. We will like get in like little tiffs on the phone before we hang up. We're saying, love you more, love you more, love you more. And then we end up having to hang up on each other. So my mom got me this as like kind of a little reminder of that. Ooh, this one is one of my favorites. This is probably the most minimalist painting that I have on the wall. It's one of my favorite things ever. I almost threw this one away because when I first made it, I was like, it's stupid looking. I hate it. But it's an office joke from when Creed is temporarily the manager and he's just making up fucking acronyms and he says, Bobody. What does the B stand for? And he says, business. And he just puts this on the whiteboard. Completely nonsensical. Doesn't make any fucking sense. It's so ridiculous. Creed is 10 out of 10, the most underrated character on The Office. This is my favorite. So yeah, I'm so glad that I didn't throw this away or paint over it because it's hilarious. And like, I think also a testament to the fact that art doesn't have to be like a thing. It's just a square. Like it's a square with letters on it and it makes me smile every time I look at it. Yes, I literally put some birds on it. Exactly. All right. This one is a TikTok joke. I think we're getting into like the TikTok portion of this wall. There's a TikTok trend going around a while ago That was a creator saying, you know, those live, laugh, love paintings that white ladies have. Someone should make one that says alive, haha, fuck. And I thought that was hilarious. So I made a painting, and there it is. Yeah. So there's that one. Oh my God. Okay. So I've seen a lot of comments and a lot of questions about this one. I don't know why this makes me laugh so much. This is not funny. Like, I'm so embarrassed to talk about this on stream because this is not fucking funny. So there's this TikTok of a lady who was, the whole joke was that her partner, I think it was her husband or her boyfriend, was not a native English speaker. And so in English, we have this tendency of doing the thing where we say, like, you know, funny, like, idioms or like sayings where we say, like, later alligator or in a while crocodile. And so she said this to her partner, who English was not his first language, to see how he would respond. And she said, later alligator. And he just looked at her and went, bye-bye, horse. My husband and I just thought that that was really funny. So I just made a painting that says bye-bye, horse. For a while, my husband and I were just saying bye-bye, horse to each other. It's like the dumbest thing. Like, it's not funny. I recognize that it doesn't make any sense. But it just makes me happy. Every now and again, we'll just say, like, bye-bye, horse. And it like gives me a little giggle on the inside to think what the strangers around must think when we say that to each other. So that's probably one of the favorite ones that I have on the wall. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right. Let's do like two more. So this one is just an M. This is just like a straight up wooden M. I actually am like kind of sentimental about this though, because this was, I think, one of the first like pieces of home decor that I ever bought for myself with my own money. I put this in my very first apartment that I bought or like rented as a grown-up lady. And so it feels sentimental to me. It's like a coming of age thing. So we keep it around. And this one is another Jenna Marbles quote. It just says, oh, hell yeah, because Jenna says that, or did say that a lot. And it's in their colors that they used to use on their stream. So that's that. All right. All right. Let's paint some more. Let's see. I saw somebody ask, does it drive you nuts that you can't dag horse? I just start saying dag horse at the end of my videos. I don't hate that, honestly. Yeah, I saw somebody ask, does it drive me nuts that I can't unpack my day with my husband? Not really, because I can still unpack my day. Like, I'm still able to talk with my husband about, like, you know, oh, I was frustrated because, you know, like, I had to tell a client something I didn't want to tell them, or, you know, one of my clients is going through a really hard time, or like, it hurts my heart to see people who are hurting, you know, like, that's not identifying information. And so we can talk about like the most basic of topics. I never get into specifics or anything, obviously, but you know, I am still able to unpack somewhat. So it doesn't, it's not like I'm living like a complete and total double life, but, no, I mean, it's not, honestly too, I think over time you just get used to it. It is not as weird as you would think. It seems like a more limiting premise than it actually is, because also too, I think people, like, think that you would talk about it more than you do. But like, when you're in the nitty gritty of people's daily lives, like, it would take me so long to try and explain the context of an entire person's life to someone just so I could talk about one thing that happened today. So it almost would be like not worth it anyways. And so it's kind of like a non-issue, honestly. We love and miss Jenna the most. Yes, we do. I am so sad. But like, I also get it though. Like, especially after having so many of you show up it is like, it's wild. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like a weird feeling having people show up and just like want to talk to you, you know, like I love it, obviously. And I'm very grateful for all of you, but it's a bit of a head trip. So I understand why after 10 years, she would be like, maybe that's enough. I think the privacy aspect of that too, probably wears on a person. I know they had people showing up to their house and like really not respecting the boundaries, which is not cool. Do I think that an autistic person could be a good therapist? Psychology is one of my special interests. Yeah, I see variations of this question a lot. Like, do I think a person with XYZ issues could be a good therapist? And like, yes, the answer is always yes. The caveat here is that you have to be willing to do the work on your own issues. Because regardless of whether it is neurodivergency or a mental illness or, you know, just like general trauma or like, you know, we all bring baggage and shit to the table. And so as long as you're willing to own and acknowledge where your blind spots are, you, very much have the capability to be a good therapist. You know, again, all of the work and the training is the same. Obviously, like as long as you're adapting it for people's particular learning styles. But most of the work in being a quote unquote good therapist is in acknowledging when you need to learn more, when you need to take steps back, and then acknowledging where your limitations are. So if you're willing and able to do that, I don't see why not. All right, we're gonna let that one dry now that I've gotten paint all over the table. This is what happens. You guys can't see it, but there's paint all over the table now. Let's see here. I'll make the background of this one blue. I need like a light blue though. Yes, yeah, the video is going to be on the channel after we're done. So the replay will be up. I think the first live stream that we did for the 10K subscriber celebration is still up also. So if you haven't watched that, you can go watch that too. How is everybody's crafts going? Or everybody's art, I guess. Is there a difference between arts and crafts? Is there a consensus about this? What separates an art from a craft? Do we know? Can we put that in the chat? Is anybody any authority on this topic?
What?
The difference between an art and a craft. Because I know people often say like arts and crafts, but what's the difference between an art and a craft? Because I feel like this, like for me, seems more like a craft because I don't identify myself as an artist, although it is artistic in nature. But what's the difference between an art and a craft? I think it involves gluing, like sticking stuff together. I could see that, yeah. Art is primarily aesthetic. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Oh, crafting is functional. Okay, I could see that. Yeah, like wood crafting or like, yeah, like making a thing versus art is more like, yeah, like visual. I could see that, I guess. Although, but then where does sculpting fall? Because sculpting is also making a thing, but it is kind of aesthetic. I don't know. Maybe this is an unanswerable question. I think kitchen sink would be a nice picture to put up. What does that mean? Kitchen sink? Is that a reference that I don't get? I feel like it's elitist language. That's fair, honestly. I think there is probably some air of elitism to art and like arts and crafts. Okay. Now we let that one dry. This is like the boring truth of what it looks like when I do self-care is I'm mostly just painting backgrounds and then you gotta let it dry. And then you paint another layer and then you gotta let it dry. Then you paint another one and you gotta let it dry. Let's see. How long have we been live?
An hour. Do you have a favorite TikTok that always makes you laugh?
I feel like there is one, but I can't think of it right now. Probably something animal related. The one where, well, I mean, the Bye Bye Horse one always makes me laugh. The birds work for the bourgeoisie. That shit makes me laugh every single fucking time. That's funny. I have a painting of that. We'll talk about that in a minute. I don't know. Is there something? I almost stuck this paintbrush on my coffee cup, you guys. Oh my God. I would have been so mad. Oh no. Jenna's soap hand. Yes. Oh yeah, Jenna's soap hand. That's not a TikTok, but Jenna's soap hand is oh, you know what? Okay, so it doesn't make me laugh, but there is a very specific genre of YouTube videos that I will watch without fail when I am sad or having a weird day. The comfort YouTube video that I will always watch is dog agility competitions. Only because there is a split second at the very end of every agility course where the dog finishes the course and they always run full tilt at their handler, and usually they jump up into their handler's arms, and it's the sweetest moment because they're both so happy and the dog feels so proud of themselves. Like, it's gonna make me cry to talk about it. It's like the cutest, most wholesome thing, and it is such a comforting, seriously, highly recommend watching them. It's like the best example of why we don't deserve dogs, because it's just so, like, the dog, after they finish running their agility course, it's just like, are you proud of me? Are you happy? And it's like so cute. Oh, it gets me in my heart every single time. Every single time. It's the cutest. So maybe, no, I mean, it doesn't make me laugh, but I do watch it a fair amount. Highly recommend having like a go-to comfort YouTube video. The cat video with Sale. Yeah, that one does. That's pretty funny. Or Tiny Food. Yeah. Oh, Tiny Chef. That one's cute. Have you guys seen Tiny Chef? The guy? He's like a little puppet sort of dude. This paint is...
How do you feel about tiny things?
I very much love tiny things. I am part of an entire Facebook group that's dedicated to just showing each other pictures of tiny things. That's the only thing I use Facebook for anymore, is the groups. And it's usually just weirdly specific groups that I want to be a part of so we can share pictures of things that make me happy. Like tiny things. Those mini brands balls, my favorite. They're so cute. They're itty bitty. My comfort TikTok. Yes, Jenna Marble's reacting to TikToks. I watch that one a lot too. That's a good one. The one with the fork where he melts the fork in the hot dog water is too much. Yeah. Oh yeah. TikToks of frogs jumping into a water bottle lid of water makes my heart happy. Tiny face challenge. I've seen those. They kind of freak me out though. Like when people's perception is distorted like that, it kind of weirds me out a little. I don't know why. Those things kind of rub me the wrong way. Not like anyone's doing anything wrong. I think it's just a sensory thing. It like weirds me out. They're kind of funny though. Chunk the Groundhog. That's a name. I'm here for it though. Ooh, I just found this is a brand new container of purple. Soap making seems terrifying to me. At least like the cold process soap making where you have to use lye and stuff, because I've heard that it can be kind of dangerous. So I don't know about that one. It does, like, it's relaxing to watch. I do enjoy watching. Ooh, there's a TikTok creator. I can't think of their name. I don't have a trash can, so we'll just put that there. There's a TikTok creator who crushes gym chalk for like the ASMR feels, and I very much enjoy that. That's a good noise if you've never watched that account. I just realized that this is a different color of purple, so probably won't look the same, but it's fine. Yeah, see, there's like clumps in this. This is kind of yucky. It's fine. All right, do we have any other questions? Any other pressing concerns? Sorry if I'm missing your questions, by the way. It's hard for me to like paint and read and talk at the same time. So I promise I'm not ignoring anybody if I've missed your question. What time do you guys have right now? Where I'm at, it is 3:08 p.m. Serial asked, what advice would you give to teenagers or people who don't feel safe at home and don't know what to do to help themselves? Being a teenager is really, really difficult because there are limitations legally, just because your primary caregiver, like your legal guardians, are able to make decisions about your care. And I am not a specialist in teen care or therapy, but I do have a friend. Her name's Mallory Grimsty. She has a YouTube channel dedicated specifically to teen therapy, and I know that she has some great resources about how to talk to parents if you want to go to therapy. Some great resources for coping skills and just like general therapy stuff. She's also a therapist. So I would highly recommend her channel as a resource if you are a teenager and looking for therapy related information for your specific age demographic. Because she's like wicked smart, but also really, really fun to watch. So I think she would probably be a better resource and like piece of advice than I would have. Let's see. Can you repeat her name so I can? Oh yeah, Mallory Grimsty. Mallory, Mallory Grimsty, Grimste. Yeah. Okay. So I think this one is dry. I'm gonna have to paint over that one again. Oops, I got purple on that. You know, we'll just like run with it. It'll be fine. This is like a weird brick color, and that's not really what I was going for.
Do you have any tips for staying mentally organized?
No. The question was, do you have any tips for staying mentally organized? I'm not an organized person, so that is a difficult area for me. And I think the hard thing about this topic is that this will be different for everyone because, like I mentioned earlier, we're all bringing different things to the table. So we will all need and benefit from different techniques and tools and support systems. I am very much a like pen and paper person. I find like written to-do lists very helpful in terms of organizing my brain and my thoughts and things like that. But I know for some people, trying to keep track of written pen and paper stuff is, tedious and terrible. So like I said, it very much depends on the person. But if you have a therapist, opening that conversation with your therapist can be incredibly useful because typically we're able to give people a jumping off point in terms of like where you can get started with trying to be more organized or like organizing your brain. And it's useful to have someone who is dedicated or like a dedicated support person to bounce your progress off of and help hold you accountable to those goals and things like that. Because the consistency piece is also really important there. Like when we try something new, our tendency is to try it for like 3 days and then be like, it didn't work. I want to try something else. And that like may be true, But it might also behoove you to try it a few more times or a few more days in a row before making the decision that it is not a good fit, because it does take us time to settle into new things. So it's kind of a non-answer to your question. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, I guess experimentation maybe is more of a direct answer. In that everyone will need different things, and so being open to trying different techniques and tools and looking for support, and especially leaning on your people. I think oftentimes that's a piece that's missed, is we want to or feel like we have to do everything on our own. And there's no shame in needing help from people or telling someone like, I need support, so can you support me by doing this, that, or the other? There is paint all over my hands. Who is bringing turkey and mashed potatoes? That sounds delicious. What? Oh.
I'm like listening both. So.
Oh, okay. Would you agree that some witchcraft, like burning a paper of negative thoughts with sage or other herbs, is also just working in a psychological sense, like a form of visualization? Kind of. I would encourage you to seek consultation about that. Especially with things like sage, you can get into cultural appropriation territory very quickly. So just be mindful of that, and like being respectful of the origin of those practices, because we never want to be engaging in things that are, first of all, beyond our scope of ability. But we also, like I said, want to be respectful of the origin of those things. But that being said, there's lots of different aspects of visualization and meditation that can be helpful. And I think, again, it's one of those areas where like being creative and leaning into whatever works for you is totally fair game, because while some people may find incense or more like witchcraft centric spiritual practices, they might find that very unuseful. Some people might find it very useful. That's totally fair. It's all up to the individual and what feels safe for you. But like I said, I would encourage you to seek some consultation and some resources about that, and just make sure that you're practicing whatever works best for you in a way that is safe and that is respectful and compassionate, and just honoring the origin of that. So I know that like witchcraft and that kind of stuff is like very much having a moment right now, which is fine. And I think can be great. But again, like it's important to be mindful of that.
Is online therapy as effective as in person?
It depends. The question was, is online therapy as effective as in person? Yes and no. It depends very much on your particular therapist, on you, on the method that you're using. Because here's the thing. Online therapy is, I think, here to stay. I was one of the therapists who last year, when the panorama happened, that was like, this is new. I don't know how to do this. And like had to learn with everybody about what that meant, right? And I was very much under the impression that like, we'll just do telehealth for like a month and then we'll go back to the office, right? And like, bitch, no. A lot of people find telehealth meaning video therapy, to be more accessible, to be a more feasible option than actually getting in your car and driving to a therapist's office, especially with things like work schedules. And if someone is working from home, and it is great, I think, for things like travel time, because where before, like if someone was trying to like squeeze in a therapy session after work, right? And let's say someone gets off of work at 5, my last appointment starts at 5:30. If they had to drive across town, they might not be able to make it. But with telehealth, they can. And so like that's a really important thing for us to honor in terms of accessibility. That being said, some people take better to telehealth than others. If you are a person who struggles to like get into the shit, if you find yourself clamming up, if you find yourself unable to be emotional or to like access the things that you're trying to unpack, experimenting with an in-person session can be a great tool, because there is something to be said for sitting in the room with another human, having that face-to-face contact, and just like sharing physical space with someone. I think it's really valuable. Again, I want to honor the accessibility part of that. And I think for some people too, I have heard the feedback that it actually makes it easier to be vulnerable because you're not staring someone right in the fucking face. And so if that's your experience, I think that's super valid, and that's why I say like, yes and no. For some people, it's this like incredible tool that has been transformative and very useful and has like very much changed the game in terms of their ability to heal and make progress, and like get better, right? Which is obviously the goal. But for some people, it also creates a comfortable buffer room where they can like chit chat, but not like get into the stuff, and is like counterproductive. So it's important to be mindful of that. But I think that's also one of those things that is the therapist's job. Like we talked about this in the Reddit video that went live last week before. That like it's the therapist's job to be making sure that their clients are using therapy effectively and not the other way around. So if your therapist is not being mindful of that, like that's on them. It's not your job as a client to be obsessing about whether you're doing the best job as a client of therapy. So I think overall, if you're feeling comfortable with it, then like have at it. I will say resources like BetterHelp are not my fave, if only because they don't have a great track record of treating therapists in equitable and ethical ways. But I also recognize that for some people, BetterHelp is the only way that you can access therapy. So the service exists for a reason, and it's useful and transformative. So, it's very much up for debate. And also, I'd like to point out that we don't, at least that I'm aware of, don't have any long-term research about the efficacy of telehealth. So it's a little bit up in the air in that aspect because we don't like super duper know. We'll probably learn more about it in the coming years and months, about people's long-term outcomes and things like that. But that all remains to be seen. I'm very interested to see what the research says about long-term progress and our ability to like maintain the gains made from telehealth therapy. I saw something else on here, but I don't remember where it went or what it said, and I can't find it now. What about LGBTQ plus therapy? What do they think they should do when coming out? Personally, I think they should make sure there's safety. Yeah. I think, especially with coming out and things like that, safety is paramount. It's important that it's safe for a person to come out before we pressure people to just, come on out. And I think that's something that a lot of people are pretty accepting of nowadays, that regardless of whether you're out or not, your identity is still valid. And we have to honor that it's not safe for everyone to just be out all of the time. And like, even if you are out normally, that you can't always be out in every circumstance. And that's totally fair. Oh, sorry. I realized that I've been painting and I'm not telling you what I'm painting. I'm painting a Pokemon Go egg. So my shadow looks a little wonky, but we're going to fix it. Oh, sorry. My pronouns are she, her. Oh.
You need anything good?
Yeah, I mean, I have water. I have coffee. Can I bug you for some water, please? Sorry for the noise. let's see here. Oops. I have paint all over everything. I thought about wearing like a ratty t-shirt to this stream because I was like, I'm gonna get paint all over me. And I was like, you know what? I'll be fine. It was not fine. Oh, thanks. Do you have any advice on finding yourself? Finding yourself can be hard. And I think this is a conversation that is best suited with your own therapist because it's an ever evolving process. Thank you. But I think the concept or conversation about finding your authentic self is something that is misunderstood. Yes, I saw that it's Pogo Fest this weekend. My husband is participating, but I am not. So yeah, I think oftentimes we perceive the concept of your authentic self and like finding yourself to be like a finish line kind of thing. And that's not really how it works. Even after all of the work and many years that I've spent in therapy, I'm continuing to discover new parts of my authentic self. And my authentic self is continuing to change with time, you know? And actually that's kind of why I enjoy making these shitty paintings so much, because they're all different aspects of that for me. And some of them I resonate with more than others now after time has passed. And I think that's like a really important thing to honor. Your authentic self will change and morph over time, and that's totally cool. So having a therapist to host these dedicated conversations is really useful. And of course, I recognize that that's not a resource that's available to everyone. But there are lots of great resources out there for folks to do like self-discovery work, things like podcasts and books and therapy adjacent stuff. I know actually there is an app. I don't know if it is active anymore. There was an app that Rachel Brathen, who I don't love, but the app when I looked at it was not the worst, called 29K, that has like some nice guided self-discovery prompts. But even the simple things like journal prompts, you would be surprised how effective and helpful it can be to you to sit down and dedicate 5 minutes or 10 minutes out of your day to journal about yourself every single day, just as a self-care activity. All of that can be helpful and useful, and I think a tool that is very underutilized. So like I said, I would encourage you to approach that conversation with a therapist. But even if you're not able to, I think just doing some guided reflection about what vibes with you, what feels like the parts of you that are most yourself, and like just running with that can be a useful and helpful exercise. I saw somebody ask about the bye-bye horse painting. Yes, we did talk about that already. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do the art tour in bits so that folks who are filtering in and out won't miss the whole damn shebang. We did talk about it already. Hannah mentioned this, but I will be posting the replay on my channel, and I will do my best to timestamp it. But yes. Let's see here. How do you survive college if you're an introvert who doesn't drink alcohol? Don't drink alcohol. That's okay. There are lots of other people who are introverted and who don't drink alcohol. I think especially now, it is not outside of the realm of possibility to find friends and meaningful relationships with folks who are not interested in substance use and just like finding your people. College is a really big place, y'all. Even if you're not going to a big public university, like college is a big place. And I promise you that there are some people who are at least similar to you. And so, you know, your people are out there. Yes, I did make all of the paintings in the back. I didn't drink during college as a personal choice. Yeah. I think for a lot of people, it seems like more of an expectation than it actually is. I did drink when I was in college, but it was rare. I certainly didn't drink a lot. And it didn't really catch a lot of shit for it. People didn't really seem to care, honestly. You never need to give reasons for rejecting a drink. Yes, you don't need a good enough reason. Simple no thank you is always a good enough reason. Okay. Cass, Wandin, my partner is in desperate need of therapy, but her selective mutism prevents her from actually talking to a therapist. Any advice? So I know that there are a number of different disability, accessibility resources that can be used here. I am certainly not as well versed in them as some folks might be. I would encourage you to reach out to a disability advocate or a mental health advocate if you can find one. But also just like, I think people also forget that like Googling things can be really helpful. Especially if you live in a somewhat major city, just straight up Googling like resources for selective mutism, or like therapist for selective mutism, or disability advocate, or, you know, things like that. Those people would have better resources than I would, certainly. And even if you're only able to afford like a singular consultation with someone like that, they might have a great jumping off point for you. I know that there are also a number of creators who have dealt with things like selective mutism. There is a person on TikTok who also has a YouTube channel who has Tourette's syndrome and has suffered from selective mutism, and I cannot remember her name for the life of me. I will try to link her name in the description of this after the replay is over. Yeah, looking for resources from big creators like that too can be useful, because those people are typically willing to talk about their journey in accessing whatever resources they have used. So that might be a good place to get started too. I'm sorry that I don't have more specific help for you. That sounds very difficult though. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself and for your partner though, especially if you guys are legally tied together, like in a marriage or like a legally partnered sense. You might have more pull than you think you do. Let's see here. All right, I think my paintings are dry. I'm gonna keep painting.
If someone's counseling an online therapist, so like if they have a subscription,
yes,
but it's active till the end of the month, can they ignore their therapist or their counselor? Also, apparently I have a list now.
Okay, so if you're canceling your online counseling and it says it's active till the end of the month, can you ignore your therapist? I think in theory you can do whatever you want, really. Just for transparency's sake, I would encourage you to communicate with your therapist that maybe you don't want to talk to them anymore. If only because therapists are typically required to reach out to you X amount of times if they can't contact you. And with things like telehealth, things can get a little bit squicky, because if we can't verify a person's safety, then sometimes we will have to activate like an emergency contact protocol or something like that. So if you just like straight up don't want to talk to them, or you feel like it's not a good fit, I mean, and this is just advice generally, really, for therapy. If you just don't like your therapist, or you don't want to be in therapy, you feel like you're done with therapy, you can just say that. That's totally fair. Especially over telehealth, if you're able to send a direct message or something like that and just say like, hey, I'm no longer interested in services. Please don't contact me. I will be discontinuing services at the end of this month. Thank you very much. And then you've sort of done your due diligence. And it also decreases the odds that your therapist will pester you with voicemails and messages and texts and things like that. But I mean, typically, I guess you can. I would assume you're not going to get in trouble. I don't see why they would, especially for services like BetterHelp and things like that. Typically, they'll side with the consumer over the therapist.
EMDR, EFT thoughts?
Okay, EMDR is not an area of specialty for me. EMDR is an evidence-based therapeutic modality, and I know that a lot of therapists use it and love it and find it to be incredibly helpful. I'm not trained in it, so I wouldn't know. I know that, I've done EMDR therapy as like a consumer and personally did not find it helpful. I think that's more to do with my history of perfectionism than it is to do with the actual modality itself. But I think as long as something is evidence-based, honestly, like I don't take issue with it. Things like therapy practices that are not evidence-based or like cannot demonstrate their efficacy in like randomized controlled trials and things like that, I don't fuck with that. I don't like that. But if it's something that we have reliable research to back up the efficacy of, and we know that it's proven to be safe for folks, I'm fine with that. I think there are as many therapeutic approaches as the day is long. So, different therapists will vibe with different things. And honestly, I think that's good because we as therapists are also human. So, we will gravitate to different approaches and different modalities. And that's like for a good reason. So, in terms of marijuana use, I don't take issue with that either. I take issue with mental health professionals representing marijuana use as a cure-all for mental illness because, again, we don't necessarily have the research to prove that that is undeniably true always. I think discussing marijuana use as a self-care activity is very different than discussing marijuana use activity as a therapeutic approach. Like those are not the same, those are different, and it's important to make that distinction. Personally, I think the use of marijuana is like way over stigmatized. We know this, like this is related to the war on drugs and like surprise, it was racism all along. So, I think we should really, as a culture, reevaluate how we view marijuana and things like that. But, if you're making informed decisions as an adult human being with a fully formed frontal lobe and it feels safe for you and it's not hurting you, you're not hurting anyone else, that's none of my beeswax. You're welcome to do whatever feels best for you.
Therapist shopping?
Oh yeah, shop around for sure. There are so many directories. I just realized my shirt is like crooked. There are so many different directories for therapists. Psychology Today is the one that I typically recommend to people just because it's the largest and because there tends to be the most therapists on it. But there are also ones like Glimmer and Open Path and oh God, what are the other ones? I think I actually have a spreadsheet on my computer. I know we're planning on making a video and talking about that. Inclusive Therapist, that's another one. But yeah, there's lots of different therapist directories and things like that. I know there's one specifically for people who are highly sensitive people. My friend Stephanie Gardner-Wright, who makes TikToks, has linked that directory before. So if you are a highly sensitive person, I highly recommend that. But yeah, there is a therapist for everyone. And I think there should be no shame in shopping around and finding a therapist that works for you. And just, like changing your mind, because the first therapist that you meet may or may not be the right one for you. And that's okay. You don't have to, just stick with that person right off the bat. I cannot remember where the dots go on a Pokemon Go egg, so I'm Googling that real quick. All right. You're making a pink one, though, because I think the pink ones are cuter. Okay, well, this paint is drier than Ben Shapiro's wife. Good God.
Opinions on facing your fears?
I mean, my first thing that I was gonna say, just do it. There's a whole range of approaches to this. Personally, I am of the mind that it's helpful to just chuck it and like do the thing depending on what it is, as long as you're not doing things that are like bodily unsafe. But again, this is one of those areas that can be helpful to talk about with your therapist because, exposure therapy can be a great methodology for facing your fears. If they're like anxiety or trauma based, speaking with your support system and having people in your corner to help hold you accountable for that can be good too. But it's all highly individual, and it depends on what the fears are, where they're showing up for you, where they came from, how they're affecting your life, how you plan to confront the fear, and also like the degree to which it's affecting your life too, because I feel like sometimes people like do this thing where we act like every fear has to be conquered, and like that's not necessarily true. Like if it's holding you back from doing things, then sure. But if it's something that's like not really affecting your life, does it really behoove you to do like a whole shitload of work to conquer your fear of like, I don't know, something that you're never going to encounter? I think that's like up for individual debate, and we should really stop shaming people for deciding that it's not worth it to them. Because that's like totally fair. You're late to the chat, but hi. I don't know how to say your name. Aleku. Hello. No worries. We're going to be here for a hot minute, so I'm a slow painter.
Body positivity and body image issues. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you guys know that I'm like a fierce advocate for body and fat positivity. I yam on about it endlessly on my channel. I think the conversation about body positivity has been largely hijacked by thin white women, which is a little bit aggravating, but not surprising considering the history of fat phobia. In case you don't know, fat phobia is steeped in racism, as is everything. Also, can we just talk about this egg? Look at this egg. My God. Who is she? I am an artiste. Good for me, huh? That's cute. But yeah, I think also unpacking the roots of fat phobia, and like where body negativity came from is an important exercise, because we have to acknowledge, and like, especially for me as a white person, that my experience with fat phobia will always be less dangerous and less stigmatizing than Black women's experience, and especially Black queer women's experience. Just like honoring that my privilege in that area is life altering, quite literally. Excellent. Yes. Why did perfectionism affect your EMDR experience? Because I have a tendency to do the thing where if something isn't immediately perfect, then I am like, I don't want to do it. I don't like it. So when I tried to do EMDR, and the like absolute first time that I did it, nothing happened. I didn't have like what I perceived to be a breakthrough. I was like, ew, I hate it. I don't want to do it. And I like refused to go back. That was like the very first therapist that I ever had to. And I think at that time I was just not ready to do the work. So I did the thing that perfectionists tend to do, where we take ourselves out of the running for something before we even try, out of fear of failing. And I have since worked through that trauma in a different means. But that's why I said it was more of a me thing than it is a EMDR thing.
Fragile male ego. What are your thoughts?
Well, yes. Is that a question?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Do I think that men
What's your opinion about fragile masculinity?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is very much a thing. I think very dangerous thing. Which is funny because for how much men and society stigmatize men for being sensitive, and quite a sensitive bunch, for being perceived as anything less than hyper masculine. Which is upsetting because it has the tendency to turn violent when they feel less than. So it's dangerous, but also upsetting. And I think because culturally we're experiencing a change in the way that we perceive gender and gender roles and, how we operate within gender and gender roles, we're seeing a change in the way that children are raised. And so I'm hoping that that will manifest in different, or like a higher level of emotional intelligence for people of varying gender expressions and gender identities. You gotta go, Dag. Thank you for coming. So yeah, I'm hopeful that that will be transformative in providing people with a higher level of safety, but also providing people with a just overall higher level of peace and not feeling the need to do the stereotypically male thing of like peacocking around and pretending to be this like immovable, mountain of masculinity that's unaffected by anything because it's like made up. No human being is like that. All right, do it. Oh my God, I just ripped this paintbrush in half. We did this. That's okay because we just shove it back on. All right, let's do some more art tour, shall we? I think we've only got a couple left. Let's see. So this one up here is up at the top. It says she believed she could, so she did. My mother bought me this. Thanks, Mom. It's just a cute quote. I like it. Also, from a sensory point of view, it's just fun because it's like heavy. It's like nice. Just feels very solid. So we love her. And put that up there. This one says Wheat Woo. I get a lot of questions about this one. This is my favorite murder quote. In the olden days of the podcast, Georgia was is one of the co-hosts of the podcast, was talking about how she can't whistle. And so the cat call noise that people make when they like whistle at somebody. She was like, I can't whistle, so I can't make that noise. So she was like, wee woo. And it just became kind of like a funny joke. So I always thought that was funny and cute. And this was one of the very first tiny paintings that I ever made. And I'm pretty fond of it. So that's what that means. And this one is also one of my favorites. First of all, because the gradient on the back is like pretty fresh. But second of all, because the birds work for the bourgeoisie quote always makes me laugh. This shit is so funny. I like 50% believe that all of the birds work for the bourgeoisie. And it's just cute. It's like a funny TikTok joke. A wolf whistle. Yes, that's what it's called. But yeah, this is just like a funny TikTok joke. So there you go. We made that one. This one was a painting. I think I bought this like on clearance at like some weird home store. But my husband and I have had it in our house for ages and I just like it. I just think it's cute. We had it in our bedroom for a while because it says we're better together. And I just thought it was sweet and now it's just kind of fun. But it's got little cacti and succulents on it. And so I like it. So sorry if you can hear my cat, by the way. She has real strong opinions about being locked out of the room. But if I let her in here, she will for sure put her butthole on the camera. And that's not a vibe. So I'm going to try and pull this one off the wall. This one is an anchor that my best friend made me. I'm pretty sure my best friend made this when we were in college. It gets glitter everywhere. It's very much a mess, but I love it because my best friend made it for me and I just think it's cute. So yeah, so that's what that is. And then I also have, I'm going to get this back in the wall. You know what? We're just going to set this one down. I'll put it back up in a minute. This one way up here is usually too high for you guys to see. This one my mother also bought me. It says, "Don't look back, you're not going that way," which I think is cute. It's just like a cute little sign. I can't reach that, so we're just gonna put that down here too. What? I can't reach it.
No, the cat.
Oh, yeah, no, the cat's losing her mind. And this one over here, my mom actually painted this while we were camping recently. We did a shitty artwork together. And so I hung it up because it's adorable. I have been meaning to hang up the one that we made together, but I don't know where it went. I lost it somewhere. Can we say hi to your cat? Listen, if we lock down all of the liquids in this room and hide all of the paint and anything that could ruin the electronics, maybe. Are we up for that? Do you want to do that?
I mean, you want to call it there with the painting? Or?
No, I don't want to call it with the painting. I'm not done. Let's tell you what. We'll paint for a little while longer. We'll do what we did at the last live stream. We will let all of the pets in at the end. So if you want to see the pets, you can stick around until the end. We will see them then. I also just realized that I definitely painted over what I stenciled, and I cannot see it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay.
What happens to a therapist's notes when their therapist dies?
When the client dies or when the therapist dies? So there's actually like legal protocol for this. You have to assign a person who's responsible for your business in the case of your death. In my state, legally, therapists are required for maintaining documentation for at least 7 years after the end of services. This paintbrush is too big. So after 7 years, those records can be legally destroyed, and you have to do so in a confidential manner. So usually you have to hire a business to shred them. But if you die, you have to assign a representative who's legally responsible for your business, and then they maintain the records for 7 years until they're able to legally destroy them. Typically, that looks like keeping them in a locked file cabinet in a secure facility. Again, in my state, they require that the records be kept behind at least 2 locks. So typically, this is like in a locked office behind a locked file cabinet. But you can, situate that any way that you want to. But yeah, the record storage is like actually pretty intense. But I promise if your therapist dies, your records should not just be floating out in the abyss until the end of time. After the legally mandated amount of time, they'll be destroyed.
There's been lots of conversation about ABA and autism.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar myself, but what are your thoughts?
ABA stands for Applied Behavioral Analysis. And I'm sure people are in the comments sounding off about how it's abusive, because it fucking is. Applied Behavioral Analysis essentially is a way, our cat sounds like she's trying to break down the door. It's essentially a way for therapists to modify the behavior of autistic people and autistic children. I promise my house is not being broken into. If you can hear that, my cat is just becoming increasingly upset about being locked out. She's fine, by the way. She's safe. She just really wants to be in here. Is she in here? Is she going to be a wreck? Don't be a dinosaur. Rotten. But it's essentially a way to modify the behavior of autistic children and autistic people without addressing or honoring the root cause of the behavior. So in autism, which is a form of neurodivergency, there are particular behaviors that are frowned upon by neurotypical people because they're like not typically seen. Like stimming is a big topic of conversation. And something that is usually quote unquote trained out of a child in ABA, which is harmful and abusive and hateful. Because stimming is a way for an autistic person to regulate their nervous system, to feel safe, to manage their sensory experience and a way to meet their needs. It's incredibly valid and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not hurtful or harmful. There's no reason that we shouldn't allow people to stim in whatever way works for them, right? And I think it's also worth noting too that neurotypical people do this. It just looks different. Your cat hates ABA too. Yes, she does, as she should. But yeah, so ABA essentially just tries to force autistic and neurodivergent people to look like neurotypical people. And instead of honoring that neurodivergent people are valid in their own right and deserve to take up space in the way that they just are, it tries to force them to be the way that neurotypical parents want them to look. And especially it focuses on meeting the needs of the parents usually, because a lot of times there's shame that parents will experience about having an autistic child and they want their kid to look the way that their neurotypical peers do. And so the behavior basically focuses on trying to force the kid to do what parents want it to do, which is hateful and sad. And there are different ways of achieving this. I know someone just mentioned in the chat, skin shocks. There are different ways of doing this. I am by no means an expert on ABA, so I can't speak to the specific methods that are currently approved of or still used. I'm not sure what the industry standard is nowadays, but I do know that there are a lot of neurodivergent and autistic people who have spoken out about their experience with ABA and talked about how it is abusive and it is hurtful and it was incredibly harmful for them. And so I think this is an area where therapists should just shut the fuck up, this is an area where we as therapists should just learn to listen to people. Like when your clients and your demographic is telling you that it's not working for them, that it's not helpful for them, like stop doing that then. I think especially older therapists have a hard time with honoring and acknowledging that we don't always know best. And so I think, like I said, this is a good area for therapists and like the industry generally to learn that this, the field is ever evolving and changing, and we are not obligated to abide by the same standards of conduct forever and always. And it's okay to acknowledge that we did something in the past that was harmful and wrong and that we're not going to do it anymore. So yeah, very much do not endorse the use of ABA. ABA should not be used for stim suppression. It has been in the past. Yeah, so this is why I said I'm not an expert on what the current industry standards are for ABA right now. But again, I am just going to defer to the people who are autistic and speaking about it now. And as a therapist who, is not an expert in that, I'm going to honor the experiences of people who have lived through that and just say that, like, we're not endorsing that here. And I know that people have strong opinions about it. And especially parents who have autistic children and are in the middle of ABA therapy have strong feelings about that. I'm not a parent of an autistic child, so I don't know. I would like to think that I would honor my child's like best interest and well-being, but again, like it is very much not my area of expertise. And so again, this is an area where I'm just going to defer to the expertise of people who have lived experience in that. So yeah, I saw somebody mention Paige Lael. Her channel speaks about this at length. So I highly recommend her content if you want to learn more about it. But I know that there are lots of autistic creators who talk about ABA and their experiences with it. And it's just like not the best.
William Shatner is apparently pro ABA.
Not surprised. There are lots of people who are pro ABA. Does William Shatner have autism?
I don't know.
I think this is also an area too where it's important to talk about how one autistic person, even if William Shatner does have autism, one autistic person does not get to speak for all autistic people. And there's been a pretty big movement recently of autistic and neurodivergent people to talk about, like, we don't like this. Like, people who are adults now who lived through ABA therapy a long, long time ago. They talked about how harmful and terrible and traumatizing it was. You know, and like just a general overall movement, and like removal of support. Yeah, so not a fan. You just made my R look like a P. Oops.
What are your favorite modalities?
I mean, I want to say CBT. I don't like super love CBT. I do tend to use motivational interviewing a lot, because it's more of like a spirit than it is a modality, which fits well with just my approach, because I tend to be more off the cuff, as I'm sure you guys can tell. I'm not a very formal person. So motivational interviewing is nice because there is a guiding tenets, and like in a agreed upon approach, but it's not strict in terms of like the particular words and phrases and like worksheets and stuff to use. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like person-centered, client-centered approaches. I've used CBT and cognitive processing therapy. I am in the process of using and learning more about ERP for treating OCD, which has been fun. But by no means am I an expert on that. I'm still very much in the learning phase and like continuing to seek out consultation for making sure I'm doing that in the best way that I can. This is like the most pared down painting I've ever made. Let's see here. I meant to make these letters slightly larger, but like, whoops. See, this is the fun, making shitty artwork. Sometimes it's a bit of an oopsie, you know? Which is cool.
How do you feel about catcalling?
I hate it. I don't know that anybody really enjoys catcalling. I think a lot of times people miss the point of catcalling, though. Like, I know a lot of men seem to misunderstand that catcalling is not actually about sexual attraction, and more so about power and control, and especially forcing women to sit with the realization that men can say whatever the fuck they want to say to you on the street and you can't do anything about it. So it's inherently a disempowering and shitty experience. And like yet another area that violence against women is just allowed to run around unchecked and people don't really do anything about it, which is a super funsy time. I dropped a paintbrush on the carpet. Can you grab it for me, please? Whoops. Thank you. This carpet is never going to be the same, y'all.
Do you have any tips for dealing with school-related stress and feelings of not being good enough?
I mean, no one is surprised by this, but I would encourage you to go to therapy. I know that this can maybe be kind of a controversial thing to say, but I would encourage you to talk about it more, like in a public sense. I would encourage everybody to talk about it more. If there is anything I have learned by being a therapist, it is that most of our fears and anxieties and neuroses are far more common than we think that they are. and they are shared by a lot more people than you would think. And even people who you would assume from the outside are living their best life and have all of these markers of, having this wonderful, successful life, still struggle with feeling inadequate and being afraid that they will fail or fuck it up or not be good enough. And I think it's helpful to have conversations about that publicly and to own that publicly. Because, it's inherently human. And, it's nice. I think it's very validating to hear people that we love and care for and people that we admire talk about that. I will be the first one to own that I still, even now, after, again, all the work that I have done, struggle with being afraid of not being good enough or an overactive inner critic for sure. Which again is just part of the human experience. We are continuing to evolve and work on our ability to be kind to ourselves. And just use that kind and compassionate voice that we want to, but are maybe not the best at using, which is okay. I need to move this because I've now for the third time in a row tried to drink out of this. I'm calling it right now, before the end of the stream, I'm going to stick a paintbrush in my coffee or I'm going to drink paint water.
I'll take that bet. What is your advice for someone who has experienced prejudice?
I think that's kind of a hard question. I think the reason I'm struggling with this question is because I am a white cisgender person who has not experienced oppression or prejudice in that way. And so it's hard for me to speak to that from my own personal experience. And I think the best advice that I can give you, I guess, is to seek out support from other people who have shared that life experience with you, or are willing and able to validate that experience for you. Because one of the most helpful things that we can do for experiences that are inherently traumatizing like that is to have people that we love and that are supportive of us validate that as real and honor you feeling the way that you feel. This is why forbidden art juice, oh my God. I hate that. But this is why, talk therapy as a modality is so useful and helpful, because just having a person, sit with you and honor that your human experience is real and valid makes your emotions feel more, feel easier to work through and feel a little bit more valid, I guess, or it's helpful to have someone hold that space for you and just kind of sit with you in that, not try to fix it, not try to make it better, but just sit and honor the real fucked upness of that. So I guess my advice for you would be to just seek out people who are willing and able to do that for you. And if that's a therapist, obviously I would encourage you to go to therapy. But even if that's family and friends who are willing and able to hold that space for you and say yeah, that was fucked up. That's wrong. That's not okay. There are lots of ways that we can build community, even if that's on the internet. I think that's okay too. Forbidden art juice. I hate it. I hate someone called it that. All right, I'm going to try and make this survivor painting. Pray for me, because I don't think it's going to turn out good, guys. But that's okay. That's part of the exercise, right? We're going to grin through it. Ooh. Oh, that's so nice, Jordan. I'm so glad that I've been able to help. Thank you for being here. Y'all are so much nicer to me than I had ever dared to hope. I figured at some point we would develop like a small community, but I never anticipated that y'all would be so nice. And nice to each other, too. I'm glad that y'all are nice to each other. It makes my heart happy. All right, I'm going to take a short break from talking. So I'm just going to paint for a minute because my poor little vocal cords are hurting. Oh, yeah. Do you want to move the camera? Actually, okay, so we're going to move the camera to focus on the art. But hold on, before you do that, if you are at all sensitive to movement or you have sensory issues with cameras moving and things like that, now is your warning to look away. Camera's going to get wonky for a second, so like a solid 30 seconds. Mind your beeswax, and then we should be settled again. But just fair warning for movement. Y'all look in this table. Oh no. There's a new season of Australian Survivor starting tomorrow? I didn't even know that. Is that on CBS All Access? Because if it is, I'm going to be mad. I don't have that, and my husband and I have been debating about whether we should buy it or not. Can we sound off in the comments who here has CBS All Access or Paramount Plus or whatever? Because the only goddamn show I would use it for is Survivor. Is it worth it, do you think? Because Hulu has almost all of the old seasons. Wait, what about euphemisms? I swear I'm not making euphemisms or references. My throat is just tired. I don't normally talk this much, y'all. I'm an introverted being. Good night, Cassandra. Thank you for coming. This paintbrush is not what I was hoping for. All right, we are picking a different one. No, CBS. Yes, it's worth it. No, it's worth it. No, not worth it. Yeah, see, I also just have strong feelings about paying for another streaming service because I've never had cable. I've never paid for like regular cable because like, fuck them, you know? I don't want to pay for that shit. So I don't want to have so many fucking streaming services that it's basically paying for cable again. I've got like Hulu and Netflix. I think we accidentally paid for Showtime a little while ago, which we should probably cancel. Note to self. This is supposed to look like the Survivor logo, and goodness. Oh, farts. Just gonna do that. Ooh, that was nice. Did you guys see that? That felt good. See, now there's too much fucking paint on here. Oh boy. The big five streaming. What are the big five? Is there an agreed upon big five? I'd like to know. Netflix, HBO, Disney Plus. Oh yeah, we do have Disney Plus, but only because I get it for free because of who my cell phone service is through. Not like free, I guess, but it's like a bundle thing or something. See, like now I just done fucked up the shape. Oh, whatever. It's fine. It is fine. It is fine. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. All right, that's all of the pre-sketched ones that I have. So now I need to decide what I want to put on the rest of these. Let's see here. What do I think of the modern representation of mental health, and do I think it's gotten better over the years? Like yes and no. I think it really depends. Some shows are better than others. And oh hi Dia, thanks for coming. Yeah, some shows are better than others, and I think it is like highly up for interpretation. One show that we watched recently that I loved was Couples Therapy on not Amazon. Was it Amazon? Amazon Prime? I think it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah, so it's on Amazon Prime, but you have to pay for like a Showtime thing or whatever. It's like a free trial thing. But that one is very fun. Highly recommend. Probably one of the most accurate representations of therapy that I have ever seen. Okay, I think we're gonna make something that's waitress themed because I love waitress and I don't have anything on my wall that's waitress yet. So I need a pencil. Let's see here. Hi, Evie. Thank you for coming. All right, what did Dia ask? Something about Netflix? You should watch Working Moms on Netflix. There's a lady on it. It's a therapist and funny show. Oh, okay. I haven't watched it. I've been in a hole of watching Private Practice. I'm so addicted and obsessed with it that I have not watched anything else. All right, Hannah is going to hop off of the stream. Everybody say thank you to Hannah. Thank you, Hannah, for being here. I appreciate you so much for modding for us. That doesn't mean that y'all can act a fool, though. Erin is still going to be modding the chat, so nobody do anything wild or be hurtful or mean to anyone. But thank you, Hannah, for modding. Seriously, I appreciate you so much. We are all good. We are vibing and hanging out. Oops.
Did you watch Grace and Frankie?
Yes, I watched Grace and Frankie. Binged that whole goddamn show in like 3 days, I think. Show's actually very funny. That's close enough. Cute. All right. I think I'm gonna paint that one green. Let's see. Where do I get all my canvases from? I ordered these ones from Amazon. Previously, I found some at Ross of all places. We have a store here in the U.S. I don't know if it's in all places in the U.S., but here it's called Ross Dress for Less. And they sell mostly clothes, but also like sometimes weird, sketchy art supplies. And I found a pack of like 9 mini canvases for like $6. And I was like, oh, yes, I need that. Thank you very much. But this most recent pack I bought off of Amazon.
Any tips for adjusting or confronting people when you're bad at confrontation?
Start small. Start with what feels feasible. Also practice. Practice in your car, practice in your mirror, practice in the shower, practice with your safe people. Ask your friends to hear you out. Practice with your therapist, your mom, your partner, whoever. Also practice saying no to inconsequential things. We talked about this in the How to Say No video, but practice saying no thank you to, I don't know, extra jelly and butter at IHOP, and, no to room for cream at Starbucks. And little things, get used to honoring your real wants and needs in small ways, and work up to that conversation when it feels safe and when you feel ready to.
You know you can bulk order online from the dollar store?
No. What the fuck? Excuse? Like bulk order meaning how? Like multiple hundreds, or like how does that work? I need more. I need that. Okay, we're doing that immediately. That's fun. I did not know that at all. See, I do this, guys. I just did this. Look, I painted over the letters and you can barely see them anymore. Oy, oy, oy. It's fine. Everything's fine. Man, I should paint too. Yeah, it is relaxing. It's like super soothing. I don't know what it is about painting things, but it just, like, especially watching like paint like smooth over things. It's like just nice meditative experience. This is like a little bit streaky, but we're gonna run with it, Whoop. Close enough. Okay, set that one to the side. This one should be dryish. Yeah, right over top of it. Anna said, I've experienced devastating things. Is this PTSD? So I can't speak to whether something is PTSD or not. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to give advice, and I am definitely not allowed to, or like specific advice, and I'm definitely not allowed to diagnose anybody. But if you are feeling like the things that are happening for you could be consistent with PTSD, it is very much worth reaching out to a therapist, and expressing your concerns. And again, I know that therapy is not a resource that is available or attainable for everyone. But there are definitely ways to make it workable. Sliding fee scales, community mental health and behavioral health agencies, seeing whatever your insurance will cover, reaching out to therapists, and asking what your options are in terms of affordable services and things like that. Sometimes universities will offer discounted or free therapy because their therapists or their students are practicing to be therapists. They're master's and graduate level students. So definitely reach out to whatever resources you have available, because there's lots of stuff that you can do. But like I said, if you are feeling like it could be consistent with that, then it is worth exploring. All right, this needs to dry again. Painting makes me a little nervous because I'm not very good at it. Yeah, same. I mean, duh. I think that's clear. But yeah, I think that's why this is a useful activity for me, because it forces me to do the thing where I confront being not so good at something and dealing with it anyways. It's a good way for me to combat perfectionism, and it is also a good way for me to do something creative without, holding myself to these impossibly high standards. Do I have any general advice for getting over the hurt of a selfish, toxic, or emotionally manipulative parent? Generally, I would encourage you to go to therapy. I know that that's my answer for everything. And again, I know that it is not a resource that is available to everyone. But especially for very impactful or like really deeply traumatizing experiences, it's important to honor that you deserve a high level of care and a high level of intervention. You deserve that. And I know that that's not accessible for everyone, like I said. But I think I would be remiss to say, like, read a self-help book or listen to a podcast, when really what you deserve is like a, custom care that's specific to you. This paint is definitely not fucking dry, but it's fine. We're gonna let it ride. That looks like a giant match. Oy. I'm so mad because the little flame that I had drawn out on here looked very nice before.
Do you have any tips for making genuine connections with people instead of surface level connections?
Authenticity. It is very much a skill. So also give yourself room and space to accidentally say and do the wrong thing and have awkward social interactions for a while you sort out, how to be authentic without overstepping boundaries or being too much. But having shared experiences with someone and talking honestly about how you feel and what's going on for you, like, that's really impactful, and that's how we make those lasting connections. So I think honesty and authenticity are like the big key players there. Whoops, that is definitely too high.
Any tips on overcoming social anxiety?
I mean, going to therapy, but also doing, practicing using the coping skills and like the healthy coping strategies in the experience that is distressing for you. So much of dealing with anxiety is learning that we are more resilient than we think we are, and like getting comfortable in that place of confronting the thing that feels scary and then realizing that we survived and we did it and we are okay. We are capable of regulating our nervous system and living through that experience that feels insurmountable. Out last. How do we not play out last? Yeah. Okay. Let's send it. Let's just do it. Where's my little liner brush?
Have you ever come across a client who's resistant to change?
I'm hesitant to answer that question because I don't want to speak too in depth about any of my clients. I know that that's a very general question, and I feel like I probably could answer that in a way that is confidential still. But I do want to be mindful of drawing really clear boundaries between my internet presence and my therapy presence. So I try to not speak too specifically about those folks. I will say it is not uncommon for people to start therapy and struggle with making change because change is hard. And that is very human. That's not something that we should shame or stigmatize. That's, like I said, it's very human. It's very normal. And I think, I have very much been the person who struggled to make change. My therapist right now is needling me about making changes to my sleep hygiene routine. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. I told her the other day, it's not really affecting my life very much. And she just looked at me and was like, I was like, you know what, Joe, you don't have to attack me like that. Because she knows that it is. I know that it is, but I am not there yet, and I will get there. I will eventually get to a place where I feel like it's more attainable for me to make those changes, but I am in the process of figuring it out, and that's okay.
Any advice for dealing with rude, aggressive relatives who don't respect boundaries?
Boundaries, baby. The thing about boundaries is that it's not about whether people respect them or not, because if people respected your boundaries, you wouldn't need to set boundaries. You know what I mean? Boundaries are about being clear with what you are going to do. You can't force other people to respect your boundaries, but you can set clear limits around what you will do. So if someone's going to continue to violate your boundaries, the questions become, what am I going to do? How can I deal with this situation in a way that honors what I need? And setting up a clear plan with yourself, with your safe support people, and like putting that into action. So if someone is not respecting your boundaries, they suck, but also that, is not uncommon. And so again, the question I think is more so about ways that you can feasibly and safely meet your needs, which can usually be done to some capacity. Okay, but why does that actually kind of look like the Survivor font, though? Oh, good for me. Doesn't it? I think it does. My husband gave me the look that parents give their 5-year-olds when they hand them a drawing. And they go, oh, thank you. Now that I'm painting this in black, I think it might have been a mistake to paint it in black, and I think maybe I should have done it in white.
Oh boy.
But oh well. Also.
Any tips on jealousy, dealing with it?
I think we are meaner to ourselves about jealousy than. Oh my God! It says outwit. Why didn't nobody stop?
Outwit.
No. Damn it! I said it earlier too that I could abide by misplaced, but I will not deal with misspelled. Motherfucker! Now I have to have paint over it. God damn it! It's okay. Yeah. She clearly didn't outwit that one. Yeah, no, we did not. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, man. Oh, well. We will just do the rest. That's funny. Fuck, I don't remember what I was saying.
You make it in white when you paint it back again, honestly.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's okay. We a wit outplay last. I love that. We were talking about jealousy, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're meaner to ourselves about jealousy than we really should be. Because usually jealousy is a sign of like a fear of scarcity. So if you're afraid that there's not enough, just make a really tiny T. Okay, wait, but I kind of love that though. If you're afraid that there is not enough room or space for you, then, you know, we should have some compassion for that. Yeah. All right. I love it. I also should have painted the torch behind outplay first before I did the letters. But, you know, we're fucking doing it live. It is what it, oh my God, I just did this in the blue and not the orange. It is what it is. Just like make some fire back there. But yeah, I mean, I think we should honor that as being like a wound and a fear. And like be kind to ourselves about that. And I think that's, again, a useful conversation to have with a therapist about where's that fear coming from? Why is there a fear that there's not enough love or attention or care to go around? And how can you relearn a new thing to tell yourself? But yeah, I think learning how to not be jealous is fundamentally about healing your relationship with yourself more so than it is about moderating your behavior. Yeah, it gives it character. Also, this looks like a fucking Phoenix Suns thing now. God. This painting. Oh no. You know, this is really pushing me to my limits of making peace with the shitty. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Oh, God. Rip. How did the same person who made this make this? What is happening? Oh. Yeah, little tiny T. Now that's the T. I love that so much. Happy accidents. That's true. Blurst painting. I should paint with you guys more often because this is way more fun. I would have just been regular mad if I did this alone. But now this is funny mad. Also, looking at this in the viewfinder, it looks like a hand. It kind of looks like Wilson a little bit. You guys remember that? I don't know. Hopefully you guys aren't too young for that. The movie Outcast, where you put the bloody hand on the volleyball.
I don't think it's called Outcast.
What is that movie called? Castaway. Oh my God. My brain is made of Jello. Oh no. This is why we don't do live streams, because usually I would just edit that out. Whoops. My poor parents would die 1,000 deaths if they heard me say that. The disrespect. Okay. Well, now I've just... See, I tried to put more red on my thing, and this is what I've done. So, where is my red paint? We are definitely making a trip to the craft store this weekend. Next weekend. I am making a trip to the craft store next weekend. My brain is made of Jell-O is the next painting. Yeah, I don't hate that, honestly. You know what? We're just going to paint over these letters. Like, I'll fix them later. Just fix it later. It will be fine. It will be fine.
Do you have any tips for getting out of a toxic relationship?
I suppose in that context, it's important to differentiate toxic versus abusive. Because getting out of an abusive relationship is very different than getting out of a toxic relationship. You need a lot more resources and support. There are always resources in my description for leaving or finding safety from domestic violence and things like that. But if you are looking at like leaving a relationship that is more toxic than abusive, usually that work is, again, more so internal than it is external. In that, like, it's kind of a boundary setting thing. What we're willing to put up with and what we're not. What we feel is an appropriate relationship culture for us. And kind of setting those. Stop! You guys are spamming the chat with things that are making me laugh. I'm talking about something that's really serious. Setting boundaries with things that feel like reflective of things that like matter and are safe to us. And once we start to set those boundaries, if the people that you have relationships with are not cool with that, that will become abundantly clear very quickly, and then the relationship will kind of meet its like natural end, I guess. This is like so quickly devolving into like what is happening here. What is happening here? I have made I have made what I can only describe as like a children's like when a little kid plays with ketchup. I think we're gonna let that dry. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to that one. You made me high of Sauron. No, it just it says outwit, outweigh, out. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Jeff Probst would be ashamed. Look, now there's red on this. Oh, it is a bloodbath. Everything is awful. It's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna paint over top and no one will know. I'm like legitimately gonna need to drink some hot tea after we're done here. My poor little throat. Okay, that is close enough. All right. I'm glad they use silent auction material. I'm glad that you guys don't find my laugh annoying. Yeah, it's like those misprinted books. Oy vey. It's too much. I'm sweating. I'm laughing so hard I'm sweating. Okay, this one's going to be cute. It's going to be sweet. It's a quote from Waitress that's so sweet and kind. Let's see here. This is still not dry enough. So I'm sitting, the way that I'm oriented in this room, you guys, I'm facing the door. And in our house, we have door handles and not door knobs. So our cats, when they've decided they're displeased with being locked out of a room, they'll just jump and pull on the door handle. And so I'm sitting here trying to paint this, and out of the corner of my eye, I just see the door handle get pulled down. And every time, every single time, we've lived in this house for many years, and every single time it happens, I feel like I'm about to be murdered. Like I'm about to be the subject of a 60 Minutes investigation because it's like a serial killer is breaking into our home. It's terrifying. One of these days, I'm going to get it on video and I'm going to post it on my Instagram for you guys to see it because it's terrifying. Okay, where are the letters? You know what? Fuck it. We're doing it live. You. Matter. To me. Perfect. I need a little brush and I need white paint. This one should do cool. Veggie Tales murdered by a cat. Tomato from Veggie Tales, and he says he's the IRS. What? I did grow up watching Veggie Tales, actually, which is funny because my parents were not particularly religious, but we did watch an awful lot of religious media. I didn't realize that VeggieTales was religious in nature until much later in life. Did anyone else have that experience? I thought they were normal cartoons, and then I realized that they were all about Jesus and stuff, like as an adult. One of your cats, yeah, if she could be petted 24/7, yes, that's our cats. Except that they will just randomly decide all of a sudden, I'm offended by being petted. And then they need to claw their way out of your embrace. And like so extra too. Like not like we're not even holding her really. We won't even be like, you know, constricting her movement, and she will just all of a sudden decide like, you're confining me, Mom, and rip her way away from us with the claws and everything. It's really aggressive. Yes, I will show my tattoos here in a second. Keep in mind that my arm is still a work in progress. I am actively in the process of getting a sleeve done. So it is not finished. We still have lots of work to do. And the part on my upper arm and my shoulder is very flaky right now because I got it done literally a week ago. And it's in the like itchy, scabby phase. So I don't want to hear it. But yes, I will show my tattoos. Did we get through all the art? I think we talked about all the art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did. Is there anybody here who missed anything that you would like me to go over again? I know someone mentioned the Bye Bye Horse painting. We can talk about it again.
And the lie about hot fuck.
Oh, okay. Yes, we will talk about that. Yes, now is your chance. Request your do-overs.
And the bird.
And the bird. And the bird. Yes, always the bird. Lots of questions about the bird. All right. How did you misspell your cat's name? Like, what is your cat's name on the form then? Oops. Okay. So there's that. I'm going to do like some little laurels and stuff. Oh, that's fine. I thought you just like actually missed some of the letters. That's kind of cute though. That's a vibe. Having the R capitalized. When I first adopted my cat, when I first adopted my cats, I was in a very like extra cat mom phase. So I gave them middle names. So technically both of our cats have like 4 fucking names. It's very unnecessary. Like all of their vet forms and stuff. These laurels are turning out like a bit of a bloodbath, but you know, it is fine. You're saying your cat's name is Oops. No. See, this is what I'm saying. I end up with like a brush that's like way too fucking big, so now I just have like weird poofy bits in the corner. But he's alright. Do like some of these over here. That looks a little bit like a penis. It's fine. All right. Nailed it. That one looks much better. Okay. Do you want to adjust the camera so we can talk about tattoos?
Did you get the warning?
Yes. If you are at all sensitive to movement, and us moving the camera will be like a weird sensory experience for you. Now is your warning. Look away. So we're going to move the camera to face back up at my face so we can talk about my tattoos. And do the rest of the art do-overs.
Oh, the camera's getting hot. Okay. Oh.
All right. So this painting says "Bye Bye Horse." I made this because my husband and I watch TikToks together. Or rather, I watch TikToks and curate the content, and he rewatches them with me later. And there was a TikTok of a lady whose partner does not, or whose partner English was not their first language. And in English, we have this tendency to use these sayings that are kind of nonsensical and don't mean the literal thing that we're saying. Specifically like later alligator or in a while crocodile. So she said that to her partner to see what her partner would say because English was not their first language. So she said later alligator and her partner said bye-bye horse, which makes no sense. But when you think about it though, like it's exactly the same as saying later alligator. And I just thought it was really funny. So my husband and I started saying bye-bye horse to one another. And I think it's cute. And it was also just so sweet. I thought it was so wholesome that her partner